Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to To Be Determined. Today we have a very rare instance of an update happening on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday, and it is of course the Dungeon Breaker, Ironman W's, and Hoppity system update. So make sure to drop a like on this video, smash the sub button, and let's jump straight into it. So first and foremost, the update that dungeon players have been waiting for quite a while. If you go to Ophelia, you will be able to grab the Dungeon Breaker from her shop for 500 Wither Essence. This is the version that was on the latest alpha with 20 charges and 2 charges regenning each second, as well as blocks reappearing after 10 seconds. You can also head over to Malik the Blacksmith here and go into the Essence shop and notice that there is the new Echoes of the Lost Wither Essence shop where you can restore extra charges on your Dungeon Breaker after collecting secrets. I'm not going to go too in depth on Dungeon Breaker since I've made like 5 videos about it at this point. So TLDR, stonking is an official feature now. You can do it on 1.21 as well as 1.8.9, and you don't have to make a ghost pickaxe in your inventory to mine through blocks now. It's just an item that you hold in your inventory to break through anywhere. It can break any block, doesn't have to be only pickaxe related, so it can break wood instantly, and it is not ping based like it was on the first few alphas, so it is mostly on server side, but other players will also be able to walk through blocks that you mine. So it definitely is going to change up the dungeon meta by a bit, and there will be a lot of new secret routes, so make sure to keep your eyes open for new meta route. Also in dungeons, they have now changed the Thorn Shard to be a guaranteed drop from M4 chests. It will drop guaranteed from Emerald and above chests in the M4 floor, and it is a legendary shard now instead of an epic shard, so you don't need as many of the shards to be able to max it out. There is also the brand new Scarf Shard, which is the same as the Thorn Shard but from M2 instead of M4, and it at max level will give you 20% more class experience, so great for those of us going for class average 50. There's also the new /pity system, so you can see all of the menus that have different pities. There is the trophy fish section where you can see your progress to getting a gold or diamond of a specific type of fish, the spaceman section where you can see how close you are to spawning in a spaceman, the glaciite tunnel section where you can see how close you are to spawning in a pity mineshaft, and the new Hoppity's hunt section where you can see how close you are to spawning a guaranteed mythic or divine rabbit. So as you can see, I am 500 out of 500 to get a new mythic rabbit. So if I go into my chocolate factory and we claim a rabbit hitman egg right here, this should be a guaranteed mythic duplicate for me. There it is, Einstein. And then if we go back into the pity system, you'll notice it's counted back down to 0. But I now have 1 out of my 2,500 that I need for the divine rabbit. There's also a pity system for the Moonglade Marsh to help you get the different types of fish a bit easier. So if you're struggling to get these for the Heinous Chapters quest, then you should be able to do that now. There is also the new Frozen Scoot drop, which you can get from mine shafts by opening corpses. You can find this item which will upgrade your Armadillo pet to mythic rarity. So finally, this is no longer going to be a bugged pet to get a mythic armadillo. It is officially in the game and it's accessible for everyone. The mythic armadillo pet has a perk where it will consume less fuel to break blocks, and it also has 400 fuel instead of the legendary armadillo pet that only has 300. There's also a bunch of other QOLs, especially around mithril powder. Every single event inside of the Dwarven Mines now gives way more powder than it did originally. Also, every single type of commission will now give more powder from it than it did originally. Plus, the powder pumpkin, which you can get from Bryn Mawr over here, now gives 15% more mithril powder instead of only 5. And the Royal Reforge will now give 15% more powder for mining events instead of 5%. So if you have this on your entire equipment set, you'll be getting 60% more mithril powder instead of just 20 that you would have get before. They have also made gemstones for spawning glaciite mineshafts a lot more likely to spawn mineshafts and a lot more helpful towards the pity system. Amber, Jade, Ruby, Amethyst, and Sapphire now give 8 towards spawning a mineshaft, and Aquamarine, Onyx, Peridot, and Citrine now give 10. Unfortunately, Topaz isn't listed for what it gives points for, so I imagine it's 8, but I don't know. They could have done something weird and made it 9, but in general, gemstones will spawn mineshafts a lot quicker than before. If you go into your warp scrolls menu as well and head over to the Crystal Hollows section, you'll notice the Nucleus Warp now no longer requires MVP+. So if you don't have MVP Plus and you're wanting to do Nucleus runs, once you get access to the Crystal Nucleus Warp, you'll be able to use it no matter what rank you are. They have also changed the mosquito short bow, which will now deal triple damage to the eggs from the Tarantula broodfather, and in order to craft it now, you will need the spider short bow, which is basically just a reskin of the scorpion bow to make it so it's actually a little bit more useful, and it does double damage to egg sac. They've also made it so primordial jockeys will not deal as much damage now whenever you are trying to spawn in your Tarantula broodfather. Those mini bosses would do a lot of damage before. Now they're a lot more easy to handle, but as you can see with fighting the Tarantula broodfather, actually being able to take him down is a little bit more difficult because the eggs have 9 health now instead of the 3 that they had before. So it's not as much difficult, it's just a little bit slower even with the mosquito short bow changes. So it's a little bit unfortunate. The left click doesn't actually help you with hitting more shots, so if the left click actually did more damage, then the boss would definitely be faster, but unfortunately, at least for the time being, it does not. There's also been some pretty significant nerfs to damage. If we look at Smite right now, it now does 40% damage against the mobs that it's effective against. It used to do 80% damage at Smite level 6. At Smite 7, I believe it was 100% damage, so now I imagine it's a bit lower than that, most likely 50%, but as you can see, it's also the same for Ender Slayer, for Gravity, Bane of Arthropods, all of them have been nerfed, as well as Sharpness. Sharp 7 used to do 65% extra melee damage, now it only does 50. So there's a ton of nerfs across the board to enchants, so mages may have a bit tougher time doing damage during the boss fight of M7 specifically, but also you're just going to be doing less damage with melee weapons in general. And in Kudra and M7, you're going to be having a bit of a harder time because Reaper swapping has also been removed. It used to be a strategy where you could swap to your Reaper gear, press shift, and then swap back to your other set, and you would still have the damage boost from the Reaper ability, which if you didn't know, in Rage gives you 6 seconds of 100 bonus damage, 100 strength, and 100 speed, which is pretty significant boost. Unfortunately, when you swap off of the armor set now, it will no longer work. So you have to be wearing the armor set for that ability to work. If you use the ability and then swap to another set, it will not carry over, unfortunately. They've also done some buffs to the mayor system, which sounds really complicated, but basically we should be getting our 4-star or 4-perk mayors a lot more often than we were before. And they've also done some changes to the Shen's auction section. There will now be twice as many items for sale in here as there were before. So there's now 10 artifacts of control, 20 Pandora's boxes, and 40 Shen's regalias. And the first change of Ironman W's is that you will have your own Shen's auctions based specifically on Ironman profiles for Ironman players. So you're not going to be competing with other players for Shen's auctions if you're on Ironman. It's just with Ironman players you'll be competing instead of normal classic profile players. But as you can see here, there's also a ton of NPC sell price changes. Most importantly, the gemstones for Breaking Power 9 are now going to sell for 4 coins to NPC instead of 3 at their lowest level. So this will be a huge money boost for Ironman players. In order to try and make gems make more money though, they have nerfed Maniac Miner to having a cap of 500 mining fortunes. So if you were doing gold mining is going to be a bit worse now. They're just trying to push players into gemstone mining. We'll see if there need to be more changes made, but for now that's the main boost. But as you can see, refined minerals now sell for 100k coins a piece. Glossy gemstones are 200k. Jade Emeralds will sell to NPC for 1 mil. All these other drops from Crystal Nucleus runs and other things in the Crystal Hollows now sell for quite a bit. Jungle Hearts are going for 100,000 coins a piece. And there's a bunch of other things. Sorrow going for 50k a piece, and also all of these other fishing related items now selling for quite a bit as well. Radioactive vials going for 5 mil. And then there's a whole section dedicated to dungeons related things. So all the frags are going for 50k right here. And then the lower level frags are 10k. Also dragon fragments will sell to NPC now for 2,500 coins a piece. And superior armor is going to sell to NPC for twice as much as any other set. There's a few other things down here related to events that you can sell as well. So just a bunch of boosts across the board for NPC selling, which is mainly going to be good for Ironman players. You will also now have the option in profile management to change over an Ironman profile to a normal profile. Depending on the level of the profile, you may have to wait days or even a month before it gets turned over, but that's just to prevent people from making rash decisions, which they definitely need to do for profile deletion as well. This system is great, especially if you were to get ratted, then people wouldn't be able to delete your profile in the case that you get your account back pretty soon. So this would definitely be good to add to profile deletion system, not just transferring Ironman to normal profiles. Also in the auction house now, Ironman players will be able to access the cosmetics menu here, where you can buy dyes and skins and runes, and this is taking over the place of the blocks menu, which will now be located in tools and miscellaneous. So anything that was in the cosmetics menu that wasn't one of these items will now be in the tools and miscellaneous section. But yeah, Ironman players will be able to buy anything from this area. You won't be able to sell stuff here, but you can buy skins and dyes if you want to. There has also been a change to the mosquito pet right here. It has the Bloodsucker's Betrayal perk now instead of whatever his other third perk was. So when collected pest traps will catch the next pest 20% faster. So if you equip this pet right before you open your traps and then swap to your hedgehog to kill the pests, you'll be getting your pest traps open 20% faster while also getting the extra farming fortune from the hedgehog when you kill the pest. They have also increased the NPC sell cap on every profile to 500 mil. I believe it was 200 mil before. So now if you're an Ironman player and you're making a bunch of money from mining every day, selling to NPC, you don't have to stop at 200 mil. You can go up to 500 mil. If we head over to the back of the island as well, you will notice that the Great Spook event has begun here. So you can click to unearth Vargil and he will slowly arise, same as last year. Here you'll be able to turn in dark candies and everything else for all the same stuff that you could get from him last year. So we're not going to go too in depth on this. I may make a separate video talking about Great Spook, but I think my guide from last year should be pretty up to date. So if you want a guide on Great Spook, make sure to check out that one. Should be on my channel from pretty much exactly a year ago. There's also a bunch of other small changes, including buffs to Bobbin time, only requiring 5 players to max stats instead of 10 players around you. But in total, that is the majority of the huge changes that have been made. I will list the patch notes in the description if you would like to see all of the other minor changes. But for now, that's everything. So hope you guys enjoy the update. Again, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless.